Hi everyone, welcome back to the build. It's quite ominous looking today. I don't know if it's going to rain, but see what happens. We're just going to crack on this weekend anyway. So we've got quite a lot of jobs to do this weekend. So what have we bought?
Paint.
Yeah.
And some oil.
Yeah, so we're going to like sand down basically everything because we're nearly in a position to start putting the kitchen together and the cupboards, etc. So we want to get all that sanded down before we then put hinges on. So we're going to get all that painted. You can see we've already cracked on with the wheel arch boxes up here, so those need to be fixed. And yeah, the doors, we're going to clad up the doors. So we've got a sheet of 5mm ply and we're going to split that into 4 strips basically. So we're going to put a strip down one edge of the door and a strip down another edge of the door, maybe in like a couple of parts, and then we'll put the cladding across like that. Right, cool, so we've cut all the cladding for the door, and because the weather's still a bit iffy, we're not going to glue it to the 5mm ply just yet. So whilst Tash just finishes sanding it all down, what I'm gonna do is have a go with the Danish oil that we've bought, which is the Colron refined Danish oil. You can see just one quick coat, the colour difference. I made a massive mess. Alright, so let's put the lid back on. Because this is £16 a tin, so I think if when it comes to actually applying it, I think probably best is to like pour it in a bowl and then go from there. Because obviously I've got a couple of drops over the bed here, but it's no big deal. But yeah, you can see the colour of these 3 pieces compared to the original bare pine. So I'll leave these to dry for 6 hours as suggested. So maybe just have another go. I'll just come back later tonight when it gets dark. This one's, I don't know whether it's because I put it on a bit more like I've applied more of the oil to this one than the rest, but this one seems a little bit darker. But then I'm not sure, because this one has knots, whether or not the grain of the wood's got something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, it kind of looks nice. It kind of gives it a bit of a gold tint, yellowy gold. I like it. But yeah, I'll come back later and I'll do a second coat. I might, because this middle one is darker, I'm going to apply the second and third coat to these 2 outer ones. Yeah, I think maybe it's the grain of the wood and the knots. It's got something to do with the staining here, but yeah, come back and do that later.
So next we're just gonna clear out everything from the van and start sanding all the surfaces down, ready to paint. So yeah, we're just gonna sand them down and then go over them with a damp cloth just to get rid of all the residue, ready to paint tomorrow. I've already sanded down the doors, ready for the cupboards up here, so they can be painted as well. But it keeps raining on and off today, so we're not going to do any of that today because we need to let it dry outside. So yeah, that's our next step.
Alright, so we've moved everything out of the van, and before we paint, we need to sand everything down. Alright, so now that everything's sanded down, we're just going to go over it all with a wet cloth, get the hoover in here, and crack on with painting.
So it's a new day today, a lot sunnier outside, which is good. I'm just in the shed because it is actually really windy. So I'm just putting the door together today, so the cladding. I'm just attaching it to the 2 pieces of wood, so we're just going to glue it down. So then once that's dried, we can just put it straight onto the door just by attaching in a few places. So I'm just doing that now.
Right, cool. So now we're going to use the wood primer on basically everything that you can see only. So like the front of the bed, for example. We're not going to do the top or the back. We will be doing the cupboards, but everything that's going to be hidden, including like the bed sliders, for example, because we're going to have the ply sheet on top of that. Obviously we've got the Danish oil for the cladding. So yeah, it's really at this stage just the cupboards, the front of the bed, and all of the furniture that we've got in the back garden.
So while Callum's painting, I'm just going to get on with oiling the cladding.
Inevitably making a mess on the floor, but I'll take a wet cloth to that and that should just come right up. Alright, so that's the first base coat, primer coat done, and you'll see that we've also done the furniture in the back garden. And now I just want to come show you these. So here's the scraps of cladding that I put the dye on. So you'll see no coat 1, 2 and 3. There's not much difference between the first and second coat, but it does get a little bit darker on the third. But I do think we will be going for a third coat. So you can see how it sort of like looks at the moment. And then obviously that's compared to no coat. And then that's compared to 3 coats. So yeah, a little bit darker. So we're going to leave that to dry for this evening, and then we'll put it all back in the van before we close up for tonight. And we've got a wood order coming soon, so we'll be able to finish the cupboards and the kitchen, then put the countertop on, and also the tilt-in brackets for the solar panels have arrived, so that's another job to do. But that will no doubt go in the next video. Alright, so a couple of days have gone by, and I'm still wearing the same clothes just because I feel, you know, it's already got like paint on and stuff, so I'm just gonna keep wearing these, and these are the clothes I'm gonna wear to do the van in. And yeah, we've done a bit of research on Danish oil, which we should have done before we applied it. But apparently, it says here, they've got a high VOC content, volatile organic compounds. Tash and I looked into that. And apparently it's not so good to use in an indoor space. I mean, it says right on the tin for use on interior or exterior wood. But anyway, basically, so we've applied 1 coat, and we debated whether or not we should just sand it all off. But I think, because it's going to be quite a while yet until we move into the van, I think we're just going to leave it with the 1 coat, because it's been a couple of days and you can smell like the oil on the wood, as you would expect, just like paint, for example. It's got that smell. And I've been coming in here every day, and I've been opening the windows. We've got like the 2 side windows here. I've been opening them, and just to like let it air a bit. But yeah, I like to think, it says that the smell can last up to like 6 months. But because we've only applied 1 coat, we were going to do 3, but because we've only applied 1 coat, I like to think by the time we move in, it'll be relatively okay. So I think we're just going to leave it. Alright, so we'll leave it there because the weekend is coming to an end. Yeah, so we've just got that wood delivery to arrive, and then yeah, we can crack on with the rest of the cupboards and the kitchen, finish painting, and yeah, once we do the second bit of cladding for the rear door, we'll get that on as well. So see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.